So here we are in Green Park. This is, of course, the tube stop you get off to go to Buckingham Palace. Now, if you're lucky, you might spot a parakeet or two in this park. At some point, some wild green parakeets escaped, and they've been in this Green Park ever since. I'm actually going to visit 2 palaces this year, all being well, if I make it to Spain in September. The second palace will be more interesting as a violin lover because that's where the Palace of Madrid is, where you have the decorated King of Spain Stradivarius instruments, which I think are on display from everything I can tell. Sadly, they don't appear to have a Stradivarius on display in Buckingham Palace, which is a great shame. Perhaps the Spanish monarchy were just a little more noble than ours in a musical sense. I think looking back, if you look on Torricio, you can see that I think it was Queen Victoria owned some sort of a violin, but not a Strad or a Del Gesù. Now, the thing about this tour of Buckingham Palace is I'll leave a link to a very fine video that somehow this guy has either obtained special permission or he's stitched together footage from other videos. I don't know how he's done it, but his video gives you a real good inside tour of the palace, which is only open at certain times of the year. But as far as I can tell, in general, videoing and photography is strictly forbidden. I'm trying to be a little bit more disciplined in my holding of the camera because in previous videos I've had a tendency to do all this kind of business, which is a slight drawback of the DJI Pocket Osmo version that I've got. So yeah, there may be fairly minimal footage of the inside of the palace, I'm afraid, but we'll try and get some pictures and videos of the outside, poke my head through the fence. Funny story, a friend of mine was in the Grenadier Guards. He went and saw active duty in Iraq and Afghanistan. He actually shot people there, ended up with PTSD, but because he was a Grenadier Guard, he would have to do his stint here at the palace protecting the Queen at the time. And on one occasion, he observed a Japanese tourist get his head stuck in the fence and unable to extract it out, which of course he couldn't crack up laughing because they're supposed to stand very still and motionless. Right, so we're just getting over to Buckingham Palace now. The big tourist trap of London, but it's got to be done. You know, I'll be 50 years old next year and still haven't seen the inside of Buckingham Palace. In fact, I only really recently became aware that you could do a tour. Just ignorance on my part, really. You can only visit when Charlie the King's not home, though. And I guess that's for security reasons. So this time of year, he tends to be elsewhere. And then in September, I think, it closes. So from what I'm hearing, you should be booking your ticket in advance because it gets busy. And especially on the heat wave like this, I mean, that we're having, that we're experiencing in the UK this year, it's a good opportunity to get inside in the cool, I guess. I'm assuming it's nice and air conditioned in there. Now, this is the front of the palace, which we can see here. And I believe the entrance for the tour, you have to go to the left. You're not going through the main gate. You're going to, I think it's called Buckingham Gates. Of course, this building was bombed in the war, like so much of London. Some other sights of London that I've yet to see are Westminster Abbey, Houses of Parliament, Big Ben, Little Ben, So yeah, it's a few things left really. Welcome to Pall Mall and Charlie's house. Actually, it might be a bit of a nightmare to try and get very close to the fence. It seems to be like 3-4 bodies thick. So this Buckingham Gate here is where you come to go in to visit the palace, and it will say on your ticket, I guess, if you are gate A, B or C, and you need to arrive, I think, about 15 minutes prior to your entry. So I've just checked my ticket, and it is in fact gate A that I'll need to come to, and I have confirmed it with one of the staff here that you need to get here 15 minutes before. That should be plenty of time to queue up and get in. So I guess I can disappear for about half an hour, come back at 11:30, which is 15 minutes before my entry time of 11:45. Now, there is something here, the Queen's Gallery shop, so could have a little look in there while I'm at a loose end. So this is where you exit the actual Buckingham Palace tour out of that room there. And this is where you can go for some Buckingham Palace afternoon tea. And here you can see the gardens of Buckingham Palace. Unfortunately, you can't film or take photos inside, but you are allowed to just out here as you exit the tour. And I would say overall, there's the garden. Overall, I would say probably the music room was the one I found the most beautiful. The ceiling, kind of a Freemasonic design by the architect, the King's architect at the time. And the art gallery is amazing in there. Some amazing work by Rubens, Vermeer, some Italian masters, Flemish masters. So even just to see the art, it's worth doing this tour. But yeah, it's pretty interesting as palaces go. And I would have been tempted to get the afternoon tea, but I've got to meet a friend, so my friend who's over from Poland, so I'm going to head out over there and bring this tour of Buckingham Palace to an end, which has taken a little over an hour, but they say you should allow up to 2 hours. And just like that, you're back out on the street.